Hi there, welcome to another edition of the Other Tom Green Show. And today we're going to talk a lot about hockey. The Avalanche, it's a game day for them. They have the Rangers in town tonight. The Avalanche are off to a fantastic start this year, and there are many reasons why. Obviously, Nathan MacKinnon, already an MVP, is playing at an even higher level than that currently to start the season. They're getting terrific goaltending. Coach has a handle on everything. Makar runs the blue line. They're pretty much doing everything right to start their season. But many people think the key to their success is the man who's here today.
I knew that was coming.
We're going to talk about and with Kyle Keefe when we come back.
So I'm bald and have a fat face. Hi, how you doing? We'll be right back.
Come on, take a bite. This is not a donut. You really got a full bite of that.
The hell? Oh, my mic fell off.
Oh, that's good TV right there.
I got a good feeling. I'm feeling it in my bones.
I got a good feeling.
Kyle Keefe is with me here today. He must love seeing the clips because that's...
Look at the hair on my arm, Tom. I mean, it's still, and I shave my arms too, so it's weird that there's actually hair. No, I don't.
I wonder if sometimes people wonder how much broadcasters are invested in their teams. And I think a clip like that shows you, not everyone shows it as much as you and the fellas, but people who broadcast these games, they love a win.
I just love it. I mean, I love it. And those guys do too. And I think that's what makes it so special is that we're all so invested. I honestly believe that I care more than the players.
Which
I probably do.
You guys, especially Liles and Rycroft, apparently never really got out of your sophomore year of high school.
I think the best part about it is we're buddies. You
Yeah.
know, we're just chilling and they put a camera in front of us. And I think that's what's made it so, you know, I don't want to say easy to watch or fun to watch. I mean, I enjoy what I do, and
It's
I think
honest.
Yeah,
You guys come through as being, this is who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I love that they, you know, we have our love language is, you know,
Yes. What
is
is
to
it?
razz you. You know, if you come in there and just expect to just be, you know, have your tires pumped, you're in the wrong place, right?
Yeah.
You do something stupid, we're going to point it out. And I think that not having any fear of screwing up has made it more relatable. Because this, you know how people talk. I mean,
Yeah.
when you and I hang out all the time, it's like I go home with no confidence, right? Which is healthy.
So I was talking about high school, and you're from Casper, Wyoming, Natrona County High School.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah, pretty big high school. Mustangs.
Yep.
So I was looking at their list of notable alumni.
Okay. Am I on there?
No.
No.
Dick Cheney's on there. Pete Williams, the NBC broadcaster. Mike Lansing, the baseball. Why aren't you on here?
What list is that?
This is on Wikipedia.
Ah, yeah. See,
Yeah.
you can't trust that.
No.
Apparently, Mr. Mustang doesn't qualify as.
Well, are you going to
notable.
try to fix this?
Well, is it really Wikipedia? I'm
Yeah.
bothered, actually.
Yeah.
No, I don't care. Let me see that. Am I really not on the list?
No, you're not. It's
Oh.
right there.
Well, that's shocking.
I know.
No, I'm kidding.
So Natrona
Yeah.
is in Casper. Do you know where Natrona comes from, the name?
Is it Native American?
No.
No?
Come
Okay. I can't remember.
I think off the top of my head, natron was harvested directly as a salt mixture from dry lake beds in ancient Egypt.
Oh, that's right.
It's been used for thousands of years as a cleaning product
Yeah.
for both the home and body, and blended with oil, it's an early form of soap, and it was used in mummification ceremonies in ancient Egypt. So that's
It's a great cologne.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've smelled it, but it burns.
Casper is not a big town, but Wyoming doesn't have big towns, about
Right.
60,000. I do like the fact that two things about it. It has the Casper Natrona County International Airport.
Correct.
Now, when I look at their schedule, there are 5 or 6 flights a day, and they all go to and from Denver.
It's all in the name, though, right? I even asked my dad, because I'm flying my dad down here for Christmas. I'm like, well, let's find a flight. And he's like, Tuesday's looking like the only day. Casper's great. You know what I love so much about being from Casper is that occasionally I'll see fans down here and I'm from Cheyenne. I'm
Right.
from Lander. I'm
Right.
from Sheridan. I mean, I don't know how many people are in the state. 500,000 in the state. It's not big, and it's hard to come out of the name. You know, the names that you just read. I mean, Mike Lansing was a big deal.
Great player in Montreal. It didn't work out as well here.
No.
But he was all-star.
Still holds an MLB record, though. Do you know what it is?
For?
For fastest to the cycle. Took him 2.5 innings when they were taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks.
That's a record for the Diamondbacks.
No, but it's, you know, I'm proud to be there. I'm proud to be from there. My dad still lives there. I don't miss the wind. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
That's the one thing was not great.
Now, you went to college up there, but I also know I always wondered about how the barbers were up there, because I noticed your haircuts
Right.
in high school. It seemed like the mullet was the style, and that was the style.
Do you know how long it would take me? Oh, yeah. I mean, look at the detail.
That's a lot of hair, too.
So I'm not totally sure what's going on there. There's definitely a brush involved, and then there's a swoop,
A blow dryer.
and you know, and the back thing that's going on there. That is that's someone with problems that is going to deal with later.
Well, you dealt with them.
Did you
all.
have one?
Mullet? No, no.
No. Why?
I kept cutting my hair shorter and shorter as I got older and older. You the same. Your hair
I
is
know.
shorter now.
God, it's just it's so bad that sometimes I look and I'm like, there's old clips, you know, of when I first started with the Avs where just everything was good.
Yeah.
It's when I met Dana, right?
Yeah.
And now everything
So
is
it
just,
worked.
it's gotten worse.
That's a lot of time, though.
It is.
Things change over long periods of time.
Yeah.
You stayed in Wyoming for college, played rugby there.
Mhm.
You even spent a semester, I think, in Australia.
Yeah, best. I mean, actually, it was supposed to be 6 months. It turned out to be a year. I stayed there for an extra 6 months with no visa.
Playing rugby,
Well,
rugby down there is a little more serious.
Yeah, and it was funny because my dad came over there to see me play, and it just happened to be that when, you know, I played fly half, which is
Right.
the equivalent to like a quarterback on a football team. You get the ball always and yada, yada. Well, the guy that played that position was about 5'5", 260. And so I would
Sturdy.
I would go to practice, and I had to tackle this guy every day. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I never played.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on the team, and if something were to happen to him, the only way that he could get hurt is if he was hit by a bus.
Yeah.
Because there was no way he was
Fire
coming.
plug.
Right. So I played over there. I practiced, I guess I should say. And then my thing came up, and I ended up hitchhiking I lived in a town called Fremantle, Murdoch University in
Yeah.
Fremantle, which is just outside of Perth. I hitchhiked from Fremantle all the way down to Auckland, New Zealand. And it took me about 4 months.
Hitchhiking across water is tricky.
Well, it's not water. Well, I took a ferry. I'm a very good swimmer, but no, I took a ferry for that part. But I went all the way over to Sydney. Now, this is for a different show.
Okay.
If it was on late night Cinemax, I could tell you about. But what an experience! I mean, full, Forrest Gump beard and the
And
people
you're
I
20,
met.
22.
Oh, it was.
So from Wyoming, the ambition to go to Australia and or to be there, that's pretty global because we all think of Wyoming, small town.
Right.
You stay there and that's fine, or you move out and you go elsewhere. But that must have been quite the experience.
I don't know why I did it. I think they offered it up thinking that no one's going to actually do this.
Right.
And you pay the same tuition. But, Tom, when I got over there, I was so stressed out over this one test. And the guy said to me, "Have a go, you mug." I was like, "What?" He's like, "This is pass-fail. It's not A, B, C, D, F. It's P or F." So I checked out. I was like, I can get a P.
Sure.
I mean, a D minus is a P.
Right.
So, once I sort of figured that out, but the doors that it opened, and I don't mean professionally or anything like that, but just sort of my view on the world and what else is out there, it allowed me to sort of, take more chances.
You're like me in that I grew up wanting to be a sportscaster.
Yeah.
And back when I'm older than you are, when I was doing it, there weren't many people. It wasn't really a career. There were sportscasters, but there wasn't a lane.
No.
To become a sportscaster. Where did that ambition come from? Were you watching games and thinking, I just want to sit there. I want to be there.
Yeah, I think it was that. We had a guy named Frank Gambino.
Sure.
Do you remember him?
Yeah,
Frank
I know.
Channel 2 News
Yeah.
in Casper. He always used to say when somebody make a putt, that ball has eyes. And I thought that was so cool. So I wanted to be a broadcaster because I wasn't really good at anything. And, I was always sort of, I don't want to say center of attention, but, in my family, 3 boys, well.
You are a bit of an attention seeker.
So it just sort of worked out. And when I came down here to Denver, I was like, well, I've got a broadcasting degree, which is like having a degree in painting. No one cares, and there are no opportunities, as you well know. So I just said, well, I got to get an internship. I got to find my way into this somehow.
So you had moved to Denver to seek employment.
Yeah.
Without and you're on your own. There's nobody who's got you by the hand saying, here's what you need to do, or here, I'll introduce you to somebody.
My parents handed me a Discover card with a $500 limit. And
Right.
they said, go get them. And I was living with my buddy who had 5 roommates in a tent in the living room. And
Not all of them. You were in the tent.
I was in the tent, a
Yeah.
single-man tent. And, it was probably for 11 days, but it was during the time period that I would go over to McNichols Arena on my 10-speed bicycle, a white Peugeot, very
sweet,
fast,
sweet,
very nice
yeah.
bike. They're fast. And I would ride over there and I would buy these pizzas, and I would buy a Domino's pizza on my credit card, and I would go up to McNichols, and Gina Soletto, who I still know very well, was at the front desk, and I would hand her a pizza with my resume under it. And I'd say, could you please give this to Paul Andrews? Could you please give this to Lou Personette? Day by day, I would do this, and you can imagine you're riding on the 10 speed.
Pizzas and bikes.
Yeah, it's hard.
Tricky.
Yeah. I did that for 13 straight days until one day Lou Personette called me, on the rotary phone. So I think roommate answered.
You got to be there.
Yeah. Hello. And he's like, look, I either have to hire you or have you arrested. And I got an internship there. And the very first video I ever did was Adam Foote. Now I gotta cut loose, foot loose. Yeah.
So you edited that together to play on the
Diamond Vision, it used to be called.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
I remember the screens at McNichols when they finally went to video
It was light bright.
Yeah, it was light bright at best. So Lou, who I've had this discussion with some other people in Colorado broadcasting, Drew Goodman. I mean, he's just one of those guys that most people didn't get to know, but anybody in Denver sports, anybody in Denver television knew Lou, and he was you could make a movie about that character. That he was that.
He was
guy.
A father figure to me.
Yeah.
I mean, he would have
very
me over to
funny,
his house.
a cruelly funny man.
I mean, but Lou also grew up, and this, covering the Nuggets in the the 80s is, TV trucks were a little different. Those guys were doing games, but they were also, partying.
Yeah.
As they were doing games.
Right.
So it was just a different era, and then Lou kind of just still hung on to that as he got older, but he was such a cool cat. Like he was, he was walk slower than everybody else. He's got a real low voice, Lou, and he wasn't afraid to share how he felt about you either.
No, he'd let you know about how he felt about you and him and her and them. And I always said the greatest break I ever got is I got my first job at was then WNHC, WTNH in New Haven, Connecticut. But they gave me, to come and go, the key to the back door. And so once I had the key to the back door, I was able to learn how to do everything. After everyone left after the 11 o'clock news, I would
tinker,
learn how to direct, learn how to edit, learn how to operate the graphics, learn how to, because I always thought, I don't think I've got enough moxie to get out in front of the camera and do what I really want to do. I'm watching pros now, and there's a big gap between me and them. But once I got in the back door, I figured I want to be in the business, but I want to, I'll do whatever it takes. For you, you're in the door, which is the hardest part of the business.
Right.
So now how does what's the next step to get in front of a camera?
I started putting myself on Diamond Vision. So I would have to edit these videos, and I had figured out that rather than just putting together a Mike Keene video or a Sandis Ozolinsh video, I would introduce it. Not with permission.
Make yourself the host. the in-game host is me.
And there wasn't that back then. Nobody did that.
Right.
So I just started, I'm sure it was horrible. I'd love to find them, but I'm sure it was like, hi. I can't even start that way. But hi, I'm Kyle Keefe, and this is a video about Sandis Ozolinsh. Well, it just kind of happened, and nobody would say anything. So I was like, well, maybe I'll push it a little bit further.
Right.
I'll tag it at the end, and I sort of just I created a character.
And no one was it's hard to imagine now with the highly professional nature of sports in everywhere, but in Colorado and our franchises. Back then, it was probably nobody was watching. I mean, I don't mean the viewers, the people in the arena,
Right.
but there was no executive going,
No.
who okayed
No.
him?
Well, I mean, if you remember back in those days, there was Charlie Lyons and Helen Robinson and
Yeah.
Tim Lewicki,
Yeah.
and we had quite a few leaders, and so there was if you were just already in there, sort of doing it, it was okay, and as long as the phone never rang from Pierre, you were good. So
Yeah.
if you ever got that phone call, and I'll tell you, I got to bring this up at McNichols. The only way you could get a hold of somebody is by getting on the loudspeaker and saying, I remember Johnny Martineau, I still remember his extension, but Johnny Martineau would always say, Kyle Keefe, please dial Jean Martineau at 6005. So you'd pick up your phone. It was only an inside line thing.
Yeah.
My desk is a
Closet.
No, it was a cardboard box.
Yeah.
That's all I had. We was four of us in an office from you to me. But anyway, it was just a tight-knit community. And we had the Nuggets and the Avs. Of course, the Avs won the Cup in 96. But
Right away.
it
Boom.
was we probably had 40 employees, and it was just such a great way to sort of be brought up by so many. Charlotte Graham, it was just Lisa Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But knowing you now as being one of the faces of Avalanche television,
Yeah.
did you know anything about hockey when
No.
they came to town?
No.
Your job, like when I did the radio show with Doug Moe, we were doing that show. We were born on the Fan because the Fan had the Nugget contract, and that
Right.
meant we got the Avalanche contract. So Doug had to try to learn hockey, or at least put up with my explanations of hockey. So you were zero on hockey?
Well, I loved hockey. I mean,
Just as a fan of
yeah,
your-
and I played for a little bit. I was horrible. It was one of those things. But I loved Mario Lemieux. I loved, the sport of hockey. But I had no intention of working for a hockey team.
Right.
I wanted to work for, with John Elway. I wanted to, Craig Morton. The Broncos were my team,
Right.
And for Wyoming, but no, when it sort of the opportunity came about, and I became an Avalanche. I mean, how do you not? I
Right.
think everybody felt the same way in 96.
Immediately.
I was an intern, so I was watching the games at Don's Mixed Drinks. Do you know where that is?
Oh, yeah. Legendary 6th Avenue.
Shit, I had a burger there last night. But that just started the role, and I got hired August 8th, 1996. I was an intern for a full 8 months, but that just started the role. And then as it went on, I started doing more Jumbotron stuff, and I became the director of game operations. And we made it snow in Pepsi Center, and that lasted about 16 games before Dan Craig came in and said, you're ruining the ice. These are bubbles. The guys are in a bubble bath out here. Stop doing that.
I love these stories, though, because you think of, and I've described this a couple times on this show, how fate grabs you. Like,
Yeah.
It's not like I decided to do this and I made myself into that or whatever. That hockey team found you and made you into what you are. And you think about all those amazing confluences in your life when you meet your wife, or all those things that, could have gone another way for the difference of a minute or a second or a day or a week. And that hockey team finding you, that made your life.
I love to think of it that way, Tom, but I think I agree with you on that, but I will just take it to Dana. Thank God Dana found me,
Yeah.
right? Or thank God I found her. Because there you need certain, whether it's work or people in your life, and you've been that way for me in a lot of aspects from the broadcasting standpoint. But if I don't find Dana, I mean, it's who knows?
Yeah,
I'm
it's hard
dead
to whenever you forecast your life without certain people,
Yo.
it's not a good forecast.
Yeah, and the breaks that I had, one of my best friends still to this day, Dan Sullivan. I think you've played golf with him a couple of times, but he was he'd made a great business. He was a mortgage broker, and had all this money, and he housed me for 5 years. I didn't make any money for 8 months, and then the first time that they paid me, they said, we're going to hire you, and they paid me $14,100, and I was like, what am I going to do with all this money?
Especially
I forgot.
the 100
Right.
on top of
I
14.
forgot, Tom. I forgot that they divide that up by 26 weeks and tax. And so when you're getting a paycheck for $217, so I would just give my check to him.
Yeah.
and he'd buy my food and drive me around and da. So there's so many things that have to happen in order for things to eventually turn out the way they are. Just the young man that came in here,
Mark,
that's
yeah.
he's calling games for a junior hockey team, and but you can
Cyclones.
I know,
Yeah.
but he's got the spirit, right? I can tell already that he's got the drive and he's got the spirit, and he's doing the little things and the things that suck to do,
Yeah.
but he'll get there.
Well, there's that part of your career, at least if you are in your career, the career you've chosen or the career you've wanted, where you'd say, I'm glad you guys are paying me because I'd have done it for nothing.
You're right.
For a long time. I just like being in the room, in the mix, and you always embraced that, and you were always, I think, looking north, like next, more, let's keep going. There's more here.
And that's why I'm blessed, Tom, to be working with those guys, Johnny Liles and John Mitchell and Yanni and
I'm
Ryker.
not familiar with them.
But it's just, I sometimes I watch broadcasts and I can see that there's just a little bit of a struggle, whether it's, maybe the relationship maybe it's just strictly work.
Right.
And I'm not talking just sports, in anything. And you can see it, sometimes you're like, these two, the dynamic isn't there.
Yeah.
And so I just feel really blessed. Like you and Kim just had such a great sort of on-air presence. It was
I'm going to get her on the show in a couple
Oh,
weeks.
you are?
Yeah.
I'm going to watch. I love it.
I had Benjamin on, and like Benjamin, Kim, you, not easy to interview people that you really already know so well. I already know the answers to a lot of the questions, but I like that you get to share it with people, because I think people are fascinated by some of the people that they only see on the screen. And is he really like that?
Yeah.
And you've been great at pulling back the veil. That's been one thing for you. You've never, I don't think anybody ever watches you and think he's probably not like that. They go, oh man, he must be even worse than that at home.
Right. You know what? It's funny because sometimes Dana will be out with friends or whatever, and she'll say, someone told me that you were eating a 3-day-old chicken sandwich is that true?
Well,
Yeah.
Lyle's put it in my mouth.
Right.
So,
But anything goes at the Keefe house. We always have music playing. It's always country music. It's 12 hours a day. I've got a dog that doesn't move. We're very friendly and open. If it's summer, our house is always open. We're just, that's who we are, and I think that translates.
You love social media too. You love
I know.
sharing a lot of that. You are not someone who, I'm a little more defensive about my personal life on social media. Just, it's not about people I'm afraid to show. It's like there's some other people out there that I don't need to share, whether hear from or debate or anything.
There's really 3 levels of social media. I'm going to make it 4 for this conversation.
Okay.
There's you, which is very professional and witty and funny. Then I think there's me, that's probably a little too risque.
Right.
Then there's Benny, who in his post career has really taken a liking to just saying whatever he wants, which I love.
Just firing.
Yeah. And then there's Vic. 216 tweets a day.
Oversharing, maybe.
I love following him, but I'm like, is this from last week? No, this is from this morning. But it's a great way to sort of say what you think and how you feel, between the buoys a little bit. But I tend to gravitate more towards Instagram than I do Twitter. I'm more careful on Twitter than Instagram and TikTok. I love that stuff. I'm in my 50s.
Oh, you love lip syncing
I love
and
lip sync.
dancing and putting on a wig and doing all
Well, you
that.
and I did a video. I wish they would show the video that you, me, and Vic did up at your place.
Yes. I wasn't in the video.
You
Well,
were
I
at the
was.
very
I did.
beginning.
That's true. I did a cameo. Relationships are something I think you're extraordinary at. You really take people to heart, and that includes viewers. That includes strangers. You're terrific with people. But let's go through some of these relationships. And I want to start with Peter McNabb, because I think Peter McNabb became the guy that the world of Colorado learned hockey from. And that includes people working on the broadcast. He was the glue of the broadcasts. He was always the guy who knew the answer to everything. He would prepare you for everything. He was an extraordinary man.
I will say this about Peter. It wasn't overnight that you can get a real, genuine relationship with someone like Peter. He's very, bubbly and all that on the outside, and nobody knows more about hockey than Peter McNabb. But it took years for Peter and I to sort of really get to that bond.
Right.
And once we did, just the sharing of life with kids and family, and then ultimately, when he got sick, we were at that point to where Peter would call me on certain days out of the blue. Hey, big guy, how you doing? And I knew that we weren't just going to talk. I knew that there was a reason he was calling me, and he would vent about this or that or whatever. And then he got into doing his treatment, and some of the conversations I had with him when he went through that were, I can barely talk about it now, just because he was so open and so strong and so scared and of what was to come, and all that stuff. And he always had some sort of way of giving me advice in his struggle. So there were times where he would be talking about himself, and then he would give me advice, and I would genuinely take that advice. And Pete was just he's one of a kind. And I think that as you go through the NHL and talk to people that knew him really well during his playing days, and certainly here in Denver, you can't replace a guy like Peter McNabb on the broadcast, in your friend circles. I think about him all the time. I think of how Peter would do this or how to do that, and he had the greatest stories, Tom.
He reminds me of my Uncle Bob, because my Uncle Bob was one of those guys who would be doing you a favor, and at the end he would act like you'd done him a favor.
Yeah.
And it's just like so generous with their time and their spirit and all that. And he, I saw him play hockey, not at DU, but I saw him as a pro. He was a terrific NHL player, 363 goals. But I thought he had as much to do with hockey's popularity, not as much as the team winning the cup, but as far as it being popular on television, because he made it work.
There's also the player's perspective of Peter.
Yeah.
He would literally sit down with one guy, and he can. He played in the league. He's got 800 and whatever points. Like, it's different for me to go sit next to player A than it is Pete, because it just is. But all the players tell the same story. I hear it all the time when you just bring up Pete's name, and it's hilarious. Pete would carry this old briefcase with you can imagine like trains, planes, and automobiles, the briefcase that he carries around. Pete had that, and he would get in his seat on the plane, and he'd open it up, and who knows what was in there. It was just files, and it just was weird.
Notes.
It was just weird. Anyway, the same story that everybody tells is that when Pete got on the plane, he would open the
vent,
and there was there's snacks up there, and Pete would just take the sandwiches, all of them, and the players are behind you watching. You grab a PB&J if you want one, but Pete would fill up that briefcase.
That briefcase was for food carriage.
Right.
You mentioned players. I don't think you've been closer to any players than you are with Gabe Landeskog. You guys have been friends, and it's been an interesting relationship when you consider what you do for a living and what he does for a living. But you guys are like this.
Another blessed, right? Like, who'd have thought that he would be? There's just being able to be so approachable and to be so likable. And from the day that he got here, he was sort of an open book. You talk about an open book, and Gabe was just so approachable, and how he sort of addressed the media. And here we are at the, when we won the Stanley Cup in 2022, and I know how much that meant to Gabe, and sort of everything that he had been through up to that point. He's running on pure adrenaline right there, but
you wouldn't see the ice for 3 years after that. Yeah.
I know. He's just the salt of the earth, and you'd never know that Gabe was a professional athlete if he didn't tell you. He takes the time to listen to people and to pick up the phone and to thank you, and he's been I think he might be as important to this organization as Joe. I know Joe was the captain and Hall of Famer, but going through what they went through in 2015-16 with Bedsy coming on and having 48 points, and Gabe was there every single postgame to take questions. They were getting hammered 6-1, 7-0. They lost one game in Montreal. I think it was 10-0. Gabe's there, right? And so you appreciate all of the fight through that. And Melissa and his 3 little kids, like they're just really good people. And I don't know how many reporters could I'd be genuinely interested to hear how many guys there are out there. Did you ever run into anyone that was like,
No, he's
just-
so unique. I mean, especially when you consider, what was he, 19 when he was
Yeah.
made captain?
Mhm.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah,
You know, but you later learn what they knew when they made him captain, that he was made of that stuff, that he had that unique DNA. And I always marvel, you know, I think this on the surface you can see one thing is the young man from Sweden who
Yeah.
speaks English better than
he
most
called
of
me.
us.
He called me one day and he said, "Hey, I need to talk with you." And I was like, well, "That's a weird way to start a conversation." He said, "Actually, I'm going to call you back in 10 minutes." I'm immediately over to Dana. I'm like, "Oh my God!" I'm like going through my tweets. I'm like, "What did I say?" Anyway, he calls me back and he's like, "You're on speakerphone and Melissa's here." And Gabe asked me to officiate their wedding.
Yeah.
And now, you know, I'm blown away. I think I was probably in tears. I can't wait. Da, 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 da. But the good part about that is I got to sit down with each one of them for, 2-3 hours and just talk about how and what, who, where, what. Because I wanted this to be. He said, "I want you to do the wedding your way.
Yeah.
I don't want you to get up there and read a sermon and, Lord, none of that stuff." So, and you can imagine the people that are at this beautiful wedding at Pelican Hill. And
Yeah.
I'm looking out, and I do TV for a living, so I'm not nervous to look at a camera, but I'm looking out at the people that are there, and I'm genuine.
Pressure.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, you always love to feel pressure. You're great at feeling pressure.
yeah. I feel some right now in my bowels. But I got to sit down and really get to know Melissa and really get to know Gabe and the who and the how and all that. And it was just a neat experience. And they were so gracious with me and the parents. And that was a big moment for me that this kind of showed me that he's more human than he is player, right? He's just a normal stud.
Before we get to some of the nonsense, your family life.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Dana briefly, but Dana and Quincy, Steve, your dog, of course. But it's paramount to you, and it's so interesting to see because you are so invested in hockey, but it's not even close when you compare the two families first.
It's, I've never made any secrets that, Quincy's adopted. Like Dana and I went through 3 in vitros. I wanted to have 6 kids.
Mm-hmm.
I was everything. I wanted to have these little blonde haired, blah, 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 and we tried to have kids through in vitro and it didn't work. We ended up doing is giving her breast cancer. And then she's going through breast cancer and I'm thinking to myself, well, this took a turn in a hurry.
In vitro?
Yeah, she ended up getting estrogen positive breast cancer, which, you're pumping estrogen into someone's body just, 3 times or 2.5, whatever it ended up being. But it's dangerous.
Right.
You're pumping drugs. Anyway, she gets breast cancer after all of that. She goes through this, and I remember days her and I talking. Just we're not going through this life without having a child. We went through the whole adoption process, and this one, they pick you and you pick them. It has to be the right situation, right? Which it was wonderful. It was a wonderful thing. Anyway, we end up having Quincy, and we cut the cord, and we were there, and we knew the girl for 3 months prior to her having the child, and it's been a very open relationship. With this is who your birth mother is. This is
Quincy's known from.
She's known from
the
day
outset.
one. We would read books, children's books, to her about being adopted. So there's just no hidden secrets. There's no agenda, and I think she's flourished from that. I really do.
Yeah.
But I love this little girl. She's red. I mean, she's redhead.
Yeah.
And it's funny. You go to Safeway and everyone will see Quincy. Where'd you get your hair from? Your mom or your dad? She's like, I'm adopted. But she's also like, she makes a great play in softball. She reminds you, I'm adopted.
She's a slugger,
Don't
too.
be taking credit for this.
She's a very good softball
I love
player.
home life, Tom.
Yeah.
I love being there at my house.
Like your Christmas lights have been up since when? August?
July 1st. I put them up. I always do it right after the 4th of July. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you are.
I take it very seriously. We live in a cul-de-sac, so I want it to be, everybody in the cul-de-sac is
knows Christmas is somewhere within 8 months of now.
yeah,
when
everyone's
the
like,
lights go up.
yeah, it's like Labor Day must be right around the corner because Kyle's got his.
Then you take him down for 3 weeks. And
I
miss him.
I just love, and you're very close with our family. You know how it goes, and we love coming over to your house. It feels like a home,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Your house feels like a home, and you need that stability in a crazy sort of chaotic world that we live in, traveling and late nights and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, so blessed for what I've landed.
So let's move to the nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
because the people you work with, and you have a lot of people you work with, from Mosier and Connor McGahey and all the people, the Ken Cleese and Jan Stasny's and Johnny Mitchell's. But it's the three knuckleheads. It's you and Mark Rycroft and John Michael Liles. When you get together, it is nonsense that might actually teach you something about hockey. Maybe.
Yeah, and let's just start with Ryker, because that's really where it started. Because I went Brian Engblom and Curtis Lecision, and you can, names. And at one point it was Jerome Jurenovich, way back in the days. But then when Ryker came in, he didn't know what he was doing.
Right.
And I barely knew what I was doing. And it sort of just happened, right? And we sort of just started goofing up. And then, there was mistakes. And, of course, the infamous Penis McNabb thing happened. Where
you might want to explain that without
right.
belaboring it.
Right. Well, I meant to say Peter will join us. And we had just lost
post-game show.
Post-game
Calgary.
show,
Yeah.
And it was a Tuesday night. It was 11:30. Nobody's watching, right? And instead of saying Peter will join us, I said Penis.
4-3 your final at the Saddle Dome. Here's what's coming up. In the next 30 minutes, Peter will join us here in a second.
Well, Ryker ruined it from then on. I had to go through all the highlights, and he is on the ground. I think there is literally pee coming down his leg. And the cameramen are on the ground, and the producers in my ear saying, "Look, you're dead. You're going to get fired. This is it." And we just laughed, and it kind of went viral and this and that.
Kind of went viral.
Yeah, but we sort of embraced it after that and said, you know what? We talk for 3 hours a night. We're not going to be perfect. We're going to make more screw-ups. Let's just do it that way. And so we did, and Johnny got brought in, and he's got such a good personality. These were two of my favorite guys, by the way, to talk to in the locker room.
Right.
The first time I met Ryker, I had him cleaning my teeth. Like, we went to the dentist and he cleaned my teeth. Johnny Liles and I made pasta, and it's organic, it's natural, it's fun. We have the same sort of likings and things. And these guys are just they're great dudes before they're before they're hockey players. Yeah, Mitchie. I mean, just an absolute unit.
Did you ever get to tone it down? Did you ever get the one boss with the little rigid saying?
Yeah, and I won't say the name, but it was also met with a little bit of, I don't want to change anything, but
Was it from the hockey side or the broadcast side?
No, there was only one hockey thing. It was from the broadcast side, but let me just change gears real quick, because I did get a phone call from Pierre Lacroix, and I loved Pierre Lacroix.
I know, but if you get a phone call from Pierre, you stand at attention.
During a game. Red phone, because I was in between the penalty boxes. And the red phone is a direct line to Pierre.
The GM's box.
And it rarely rings.
Sure.
Well, Chris Drury had just been traded. And away to, I believe it was the New York Rangers, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, he had said to me the day before, just make sure that Chris Drury's out of the open video. I said, no problem. You guys make sure he's out of there. Well, he was in it. He was in the video, and I'm watching the video before the players take the ice, and I'm thinking to myself, and before I get the word dead out.
That's your fault?
Yeah, I was directing the games at that time.
You're still directing.
Yeah.
Not on the air. Okay.
And before I could say I'm so dead, it was I am so and I'm like, oh my God.
I know who it is.
And I couldn't understand a word. It was all, he was so mad. It was mostly French Canadian with some tabernacle. Yeah. So anyway, I had to go into his office the next day, and I was shivering and shaking, and it was a very intense, loud conversation that we had. And I'm bawling. I mean, I'm full on bawling my brains out. And at the end of it, he's like, I love you like a son. I have so, all this. And there's snot on his coat. I mean, I'm literally sobbing on his shoulder. Up here.
Remember what happened to Fredo? I mean, they loved him too.
Right. Yeah, they made him a deal he couldn't. Anyway, that's the relationship I had with him. So that was really my only run-in with hockey. I think Joe is terrific about the sort of nonsense with Ryker and Liles.
Yeah.
He loves the fact that we're hard on the team when we have to, respectfully hard. If somebody screws up, do that. Call him, explain why you're saying that. But he also loves the shenanigans. He also loves that we're, being free birds and kind of having fun too, because there's 82 games.
Right.
Who wants to just watch the same shit
Yeah,
over and over?
yeah.
So it's like, I think there's a green light, a respectable green light. Push it, but not over the cliff.
Right. And you guys don't seem to invent trouble. You just wander into it. Like I said, it's like having adolescent boys run through your kitchen.
God, I love them though, Tom. They're just so
Oh, I
much
know.
fun.
So now you guys are doing a podcast, and we have a clip from one of the shows that you guys have started.
The 04-05 lockout. I played World Championships. We were going to Austria. We had an exhibition game against Canada. I believe it was in Halifax. The girl singing the national anthem came out to sing the American national anthem. She messes up the words once. The embarrassment was so much that I almost blacked out for her. She messes it up a second time. She goes, "I'm sorry," and I have to get my words. And she ran back into the locker room to get the words. She comes bombing back out through the Canada bench, jumps onto the carpet, and the carpet flips, and she bails on the ice. And this was lockout, so it was legit.
You know what?
Like, it was the lineups in this were right here.
That looks like
right
what
here.
I did last night when I had to poop my pants so bad. I just laughed.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Oh God.
Oh,
God.
that is so. I feel so bad for her.
And the Canadian players are looking at us, and we're looking at the Canadian players.
I'm looking at a fucking song.
And we're like, I guess we play.
So this is the show, and it's Puck Around and Pod Out.
Puck around and pot out. Yeah.
Available at places where you get.
Yeah, I mean,
your
I've been told
podcast?
I'm a big podcast listener too. When I sort of walk around Apple and Spotify and who are my guys? It's blanking me, but my favorite podcast ever, the three guys.
Smartless?
Smartless. Oh
Yeah.
my God, and it's nothing. That show's nothing.
Just talking about
I
stuff.
know, and I find them all very funny, and it's really good humor. So, I would say that this podcast is what it's supposed to be: is 70% hockey, 30% whatever, and it's turned into 80% whatever, 20% hockey. And Ryker is, he's trying to bring us.
He's
back.
the steadying hand.
Yes.
Yeah, that's terrific.
Johnny and I are laughing about
Good luck
whatever,
with
and he's
that.
like, "Did you see the Olofsson goal the other night?" We're like, "Yeah, whatever." Now, tell me about how you had diarrhea. And it's like, so it's. We're 3 episodes in. We'll see how it goes.
So, but you guys spend all this time together already on broadcast. You seem to spend a lot of time together away from broadcast, and now you're going to do this as well.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between, is it edgier? You're allowed to
Yes.
be edgier on the podcast than you are on Altitude TV.
Yes, it is. I would say there are no guardrails on the podcast,
Right.
which is scary. We do so much together that there's pictures of us on their phones, which I have to stop Johnny every now and then. Like, don't really. You really want
I've
to send that one?
Seen the 3 episodes, and I don't think anyone is saying stop, because I sometimes am blushing for one of you or the other when you go off on these stories about
Life. But let me ask you this: I think it's all situational to things that maybe happened in your life. Like I had to go to the grocery store. I had to go to Target.
right.
Have you heard this?
I've been to Target.
Okay, well, as I'm leaving, Dana says, "Hey, I need you to grab me some tampons."
Okay.
And that's a deal breaker for me. I said, Dana, I do milk, I do yarn, I do medicine. I don't do that. And I had to go. And so anyway, I told this story in the podcast. And Ryker's blushing. He's like, should we be talking about this on this podcast? I'm like, really? All the things that we've said, this is getting you. But
your colonoscopy
Yeah.
story, all this stuff goes out there. And what you're saying is true. This is everyone's life.
right.
Not everyone says it
No.
out loud or says it into a microphone.
Right. Do you love I think that's part of it, is the freedom to be you.
Right.
And I'm sure there's millions of people out there that just can't stand it. They hate us, or this.
But you don't have to listen to a podcast. If I want to watch the hockey game, I'm going to have to endure if I don't like it. But you guys, I think you're great. But that's what. So in newsrooms of the last few years, if you have some graphic video or something that's really dodgy to put on TV, you tend to either do the warning,
Right.
this may be hard to watch, which usually brings people right up close to the TV.
100%.
But it also, when you put something on TV, you're taking away the person's choice to watch it or not. So you err to the side of caution. Whereas if you're putting it on something where people click on it, they've chosen to watch
Good point.
something like that. So I'd say you do whatever you want on your podcast.
I think
Easy for me to say.
Yeah. Well, we can make this as crazy as you want. But I think you're probably not as much as me, but early on I was late to Twitter. I didn't get on till whatever, 17.
Well, you made it what it is today.
Thank you. But because I couldn't handle I didn't want to read what people really thought of me.
The hate.
Yeah.
The love was good.
Yeah, I didn't, I wasn't really into that either. I just kind of wanted to do my thing, and then that was it.
That's how I like to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there was this one kid who replied to something, and I didn't know if he was a kid. He could have been an adult, but he said, every time I see Kyle Keefe's face, I want to go on a baby punching spree. Pretty graphic and pretty
Not
serious, and it ruined me. It ruined me.
Yeah.
So for 6 months, I'm on classmates.com. I'm on maps.com, tracking down phone. I'm just trying to figure out who this person is, and ruined myself for 6 months. Turns out that this kid was a 12-year-old that lived in Colorado Springs. And so I wasted all this time worried about and it just goes to show you, it doesn't matter. It's so silly. And so once you take that out and just you just sell yourself to, I'm just going to be me, and that's who it is.
So, but negative feedback, I always say, weighs about 10 times what positive feedback weighs. I mean, you wear it and you think about it. And I think, I'm a somewhat sensitive person. You are a very sensitive.
I can tell you, I sent an Instagram one time, and I was doing the Instagram while I was driving, and you called me right away and said,
maybe
should you be driving and filming yourself?
Maybe you shouldn't be showing that.
It hurt.
Well,
I deleted it.
I was trying to help you.
I know, but just the smallest thing.
I was trying to correct you so that you didn't get the 1,000 people telling you what a dummy you are and what's wrong with you.
But the effect that you have on my life is, and I think it's worth sharing that. Not only are you, who you were, a great, broadcaster, but it's relationships like what you and I have formed over the years, and the relationships that I have with these guys and Peter McNabb going back, and Gabe, and they're all different. Some are more serious than others and whatever, but this is the road that we're on, Tom. And now be sitting here with you, two guys that just shoot the shit and drink beer and wine and play golf, and it's just kind of cool that it's taken us here and we get to sit here and talk about sports and life, and it's a full circle thing.
We were having dinner one time, our families, and there was some lightning that came outside, and I was amazed at your phobia for lightning. Is lightning your number one fear, or is it in your top 5?
Number one.
Number one.
Number one.
Is there a reason? Did you have a brush with lightning, or do you just imagine its devastation?
I just can't imagine. I want to be able to say, well, I'm screwed. I want to be able to go, Dana, I love you. Boys, it's been a ride.
But you weren't acting. You
No.
have a real
lightning.
Yeah.
Well, it's just over. It's just over. It's like being hit by a bullet.
And this is from childhood, from forever, or did you just decide one day?
Golf has a lot to do
Yeah.
with it. I like to play through anything, and lightning is one thing that I don't screw around with.
We shouldn't anyway. People are getting better at that. They used to think, it'll hit everywhere but me.
Right, and then it doesn't.
Yeah.
It goes lightning. This is kind of specific, but being in an inner tube in the ocean with my feet dangling like...
Oh, the shark bait.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you're basically saying...
But we've all been there.
Here, sharky. No, you have not. You've never been.
None of us have been there.
No,
But
even in a pool, I
in a
get
pond.
freaked out. In a pool, I'm like
Hey,
some kid.
you mentioned golf. You and I played a couple times with Jared Bednar. You've played a lot of golf with Jared Bednar, and as great a hockey coach as he is, his golf is fun.
Is passionate the right word
Yeah.
I would use? He loves golf. That's the best
Right.
way to start. He loves it, and he practices. He gets lessons. He goes to the bays. He'll send you random texts about, I'm working on this and
I got a
bringing
new
my
club,
hands
I
down.
got
Oh,
a new-
all
yeah,
of that.
yeah.
And he has a 3-month window. You know, and he goes up to his ranch and,
Yep.
and fiddles around, hunts in South Carolina. But he loves to golf. And you know from playing with him that he's constantly trying to figure out. And he'll if he has 3 pars in a row, everything's good, right? But then if he throws in a double or whatever there, he's trying to figure it out. But
seeking perfection,
Yes.
seeking the beauty. I can't imagine playing with his hands.
Hands.
They're so big and strong.
Yeah.
I just wondered, would that be a gift or would that be a curse?
he's got a soft touch. He's really good around the greens. He's a good putter.
Yeah.
You know, but he cares, right? Like he really genuinely cares and is trying to get better. And he's so into the handicap that he'll say, you know, I'm down to a 13.6.
Point.
Like, yeah, he'll get down to the point. You know, I
Yeah.
had a couple good rounds, but he's so fun to play with. I don't know if we've talked about hockey one time playing golf. Not once.
His public persona is coming out after a tough loss, coming out after a big win. He's so even keel. And you see him, if you ever see him in person, he's a large man. He's a large, strong framed man. But he's gone from the worst team in the NHL to the champion to the team that lost Game 7 to all this stuff. And he comes out and he seems to be able to manage, you know, all my guys are hurt. All my guys are, you know, something's going on. He's got an incredible rudder.
To win at every level, there's very few coaches that you could say did that. But what I love about Bedsy most is that he listens to the question.
Yeah.
Like he's going to hear you out, and he doesn't have a stock answer. There's never
Sean Payton's a little different. Sean
Yes.
Payton can't wait till half the question is over to tell you you're wrong.
Exactly. And you know, and he likes to mix it up too. Sometimes he'll tell the gaggle of us that are there, and a lot of people are there a lot more than me. You know, I try and dip in and dip out, and but he'll say, let's mix it up. You know, we can't go through every guy on the roster. You know, before too long. I mean, what are we doing? So, but he is genuinely, you know, after a loss, there's sometimes that, you know, let's just say they win like 6-0. The Avs win 6-0. I can tell he's not in the mood to toot his own horn.
No.
No, you can tell when he walks out there. If he's eating something, like sometimes he eats like a snack bar or something. So if he's coming out there and he's like,
That's his tell?
I'm like, okay, Teddy G or whatever from Rounders, you know, when he did the Oreos. I can tell he's in a good mood, and you can get into it a little bit. But sometimes they may win like 5-0, and it's all business.
Yeah.
So you just got to weigh sort of everything.
That's coach speak some of the time, where you can never be satisfied with victory. There was more left on the table, or we didn't do this right on this one power play or something like that. This team, though, is scary special. Now it's Thanksgiving time, so hockey doesn't truly matter yet. But boy, they've made a statement to start this year. Nathan's made a statement. Cale continues to do his thing. The goalie thing has been probably the most positive surprise as far as goalies that this team's ever had. It's a real potential.
Yes.
You look at this team and go, boy, they could do the thing.
And take those 3 things out that you just mentioned. Nate,
Cale,
Makar, and goaltending. Take those out. It's the depth, right? If I go back to 2022 or 96, and I think of the Mike Keens and the Lefebvres and the, you know.
Even on the blue line, this team, you know, Burns has been a big plus.
I think over our last 3 home games, we had 14 points from our second, third, and fourth lines. Defensemen, I think we had 11 points over that 3-game winning streak. It's chipping in. Nathan McKinnon didn't have a point the other night for the first time since the '86 stock market crash. It's just amazing that depth is almost more important than star power. And I go back to the Tampa Bay Lightning, who won 2 in a row, and those teams were stacked from the bottom up.
Yeah.
They had the Kucherovs and the Stamkos and the goaltending and all that. But they were so good everywhere else and health that they could just withstand you. They would just wear you down. 60 minutes is too long to play a team like that. And I think what we've seen with the Avs up to this point is they've been down in games and they've rallied back. Yes, they've lost some in shootout and overtimes, which is, you know, it's a flip of a coin, 3-on-3 hockey or a shootout. It is what it is. But 5-on-5, they've been so good in the second and third periods.
Yeah.
It's so that feeling that you're talking about, and again, with a grain of salt because I'm a huge homer and I
Get
love
scary
this
of
team.
it. You're
does.
scared to say, it's so good.
Correct.
It's so we're on cruise control.
But the injury to Val Nichushkin, right? What already? But there's a million teams that have had injuries. Gavin Brindley steps right in.
Yeah.
Boom. And he's going to be fine.
Logan O'Connor's coming back.
Right?
Kivaranta's.
If a goalie goes down, you got this, Trent Miner's been really good. Okay, well, Blackwood's back in. Wedgwood, it's just, you've got options. And so I think what's so exciting for me, and I think what you're pointing to is that they're not just good. They're Nikola Jokic good. Right?
Well, that's what I was going to say. They have the attention. I mean, they've lost one game in regulation so far, and they're, you look at what's going on over there the other nights when they're not playing, and the basketball team looks like they've got the thing too, and it's a nice vibe. It makes your post-game shows when you get on the love seat with whichever guest comes up to sweat on your couch.
It's so fun. It's the best thing about the post-game is the people rush in there, right? Well, first of all, the bar's open for an hour after the game, so you can let the traffic.
Did you like the move? Because you do the road games still in studio,
right?
But the home games, you're now in front of humans,
right?
In between periods and pregame and postgame.
I would love it if there was 10,000 people in it. I love the more people, the better. It's just a different vibe, and the players
fawn over you.
No, they don't give two shits about me, but they love seeing the players, and they know that, about 11 minutes into the postgame show, that's when they're going to get the player. So they're drinking, they're having fun, and we don't have a player if we lose, which, to this point, it's been very good.
Once, yeah.
But to have, Josh Manson come up there, I think just recently we had Gavin Brindley or Ross Colton, and they're 10 feet away from the player, just fresh off the ice, which is the most raw you're ever going to get a player, because it's just fresh in their memory. And
because so many sporting events now, I think, are really done strictly for television. I think the NFL is the games are played for TV, and the people in the stadium are often looked past. And so this is a nice thing for people who are at the arena, who actually laid down the cash to show up, cheer, wear their jersey, and all that. They actually do get a little bit more than the TV viewer gets, because they get in the break or when he walks in or all those things. It's a nice touch for the fan who actually made it to Ball Arena.
And it's open, even though it's on club level, it's open. Everybody with a 300 ticket level, 100, anybody can come up there.
Right.
Here's the other thing I'll say is that's a little bit of our time to make the player real too.
Yeah.
It's fun to talk about the game, but then it's also fun to say, what's going on with that mustache you got right here?
Right.
I saw this video you're doing. The guys they're ready to sort of divulge a little bit more about themselves in that moment, which, that's what people want. They want to feel like, hey, I'm a little bit like that guy right there, right? Or I knew I liked him, but now
he's bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
He's smaller than I thought. Or he's, yeah.
And it's just been, that's a really cool part of what we're doing. And Matt Kroll, I should give him some props. He did a nice job. He designed that whole thing, and a lot of people did it, but it's fun. It's a good way to wrap it up.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you have a good one tonight. I could talk with you for hours, but I will, but our microphones and cameras won't be here. You and I'll get to spend some time together, hopefully on the golf course or at a local establishment, and share some stories, get our families together. But happy Thanksgiving. Continued success to the Avs, and I love your story. I always have, and I'd love that you get to share a lot of it today.
Did John Elway sit in this seat before me?
He was in that one.
Oh.
Yeah. You're sitting in Woody's seat. Not as cool. Come on.
I
Kyle,
love Woody.
Thanks a million.
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate it.
That's awesome.
Hopefully, as you could tell, I really love spending time with Kyle Keefe. I hope you did too. And I hope later, unless we get canceled, we'll get Ryker on. We'll get Liles on. We'll get their side of the story. But it'll be a lot of fun. And hopefully fans are really enjoying what the Avs have done this year. As always, if you like or subscribe, I guess that's good for us, so do that. Or you can always send money, or you can reach us via the old email system. Just send it to down to gorillasports.net. I thank you, as always, for spending some time with us, and hopefully we'll see you right back here again next week.